Thank you.
We're nothing about flying right into it.
Can you change the name there or no?
I can't.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry. I'm like, I could, but then that would take maybe, I mean,
Just leave it. Just leave it.
We'll just, I'll make a little joke. I'll fix it. Oh, that's a great photo. Hi, Jack, by the way.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Excellently, thank you. I'm excited.
This is going to be so exciting. All right, should we just wait a couple more minutes?
Whatever works. Oh, 29 people. Jeez.
Well, for everyone with us, hello. Please enter your name and where you're from in the chat. We're going to get going in just a few minutes as we have a few more trickling in, but we'd love to hear where you're from and learn a bit about the people we're going to talk to today. Matt, welcome. Also from Toronto. I'm from Toronto right now. We have a lot of people from the States.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Oh, wow.
Los Angeles, Calgary. Wonderful. Just gonna wait a few more minutes, or a few more moments, I should say.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
You know Sarah?
Yes. I think it's wonderful. Those people from it just speaks to how relevant this is, right? It's everybody from all different places. It's fantastic.
That's right.
We've got so many amazing people joining. New York, Port Jefferson, Toronto, Indiana. Look at this.
I saw Calgary.
Vancouver, Calgary, Georgia, Houston. Wow. Los Angeles. Hello, hello. This is awesome. All right. I'd say let's get started. We know how busy everybody is.
Yeah, let's do it. So welcome everybody from all over North America, it seems. We're really excited to talk to you all about 5 fundraising trends to help get ahead of 2023. And I would like to mention that this webinar is brought to you by Fundraising Kit. Fundraising Kit was built by a nonprofit leader to support nonprofits in their goal to increase fundraising revenue. Fundraising Kit's data-driven toolkit helps nonprofits raise more for their cause by integrating with leading nonprofit databases such as Razor's Edge, Neon One, and Salesforce. Kit identifies supporters ready to give, segments donors for targeted communication, and tracks fundraising progress while saving you time and resources to increase revenue. With that, let's meet our wonderful speakers for today. One of our wonderful speakers is my wonderful self. My name is Jack Showers. I am a nonprofit research analyst at Fundraising Kit. I will be helping moderating our two, thank you, Bryna, our 2 other speakers today. I'm very happy to be joined by Bryna Dilman, Director of Growth at Fundraising Kit. Bryna has almost 20 years of experience delivering innovative fundraising strategies and helping nonprofits to fund their core mission. In her role at Fundraising Kit, Bryna continues to pursue her passion for mission-driven organizations by empowering nonprofits to raise more for their cause by embracing data-driven technology to develop deeper relationships with donors and strengthening their fundraising appeals. When not working, Bryna can be found spending some time outdoors running, cycling, and hiking with her wonderful family. Welcome, Bryna.
Thanks so much.
I'm also joined by Jennifer Nebesky, President and CEO of the Canadian Liver Foundation. An organization committed to deliver research, support, and advocacy, Jen is a marketing and communications professional with over 20 years of experience in the nonprofit, health, and pharmaceutical sectors. Jennifer has a proven track record of helping organizations succeed, grow, and adapt to changing landscapes. She is driven by passion and heart and takes pride in her ability to inspire teams to rally behind her organization in order to deliver on its mission. Jen, welcome, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Before we jump into these 5 trends we're going to discuss, I'm just going to give you all a quick overview of what to expect and a few housekeeping notes. So right after this overview, I'm going to talk a bit about the reason why we're all here today and why the last 2 years have motivated us to think about the structure of our organizations and the need for looking ahead and developing fundraising strategies that are more resilient and sustainable. Next, Bryna and Jen are going to be walking us through the 5 fundraising trends to get us a head start on 2023. Bryna is going to be covering the research behind the trends, and Jen will be helping us understand how these trends have manifested in her work and beyond. Then I'm going to provide a quick recap of the key takeaways from these strategies for integrating these trends into your everyday work. And then last, but certainly not least, we want to hear from all of you. So as you get questions, please enter them in the Q&A feature of this Zoom call, and please not enter them in the chat. We are closely monitoring the Q&A, so we want to make sure we're able to get to all of your questions. We really don't want to miss any. And after the presentation, we're going to be sending out a recording of this session along with an e-guide that really supplements what we're going to be going over today, and there's a few extra tips and tricks for everybody that joined us. So please share these resources with your colleagues that couldn't be here today. And it means a lot to us that you are here today. So welcome again. And with that, let's dive in. So we've all witnessed each and every industry change and evolve, especially given current events. Over the past few years, we've seen events go from in-person to hybrid, online fundraising revenue increased by as much as 60%, and now we're hearing talks of an economic growth slowdown. It's not easy for nonprofits to adapt and thrive in an ever-evolving fundraising landscape. However, nonprofits will continue to play a vital role in delivering services, strengthening communities, and supporting those in need. The nonprofit sector is diverse in size, type, donor base, and a variety of other factors. However, one thing brings this sector together: the need for sustainable and successful fundraising strategies. That's why we're here today. We don't want to play catch up with a world that's changing around us. We want to see what's coming and tailor our fundraising strategies to be dynamic and sustainable in order to get ahead. We want to keep asking questions like the ones you see in front of you. Personally, I hope we stop asking about NFTs within the next few months, but I don't think that's going to be reality. So we need to keep asking these questions while also being prepared for whatever is going to come. And that's what these trends are about. Trend 1 is going to be talking about flexible giving and the need for flexible participation options in 2023. Second, we're going to talk about donor retention strategies and why those strategies will become more important in the near future. Third, we're going to be talking about strengthening recurring giving programs. Fourth, we're going to talk about personalized giving and how those experiences can help you raise more. And last, we're going to talk about how workplace giving might take on a more prominent role as we move forward. Again, as we go through these trends, if you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in the Q&A feature, and please not the chat. We're going to be monitoring the Q&A feature for questions. This will help keep everything organized. And with that, let's get to trend number 1.
Awesome. Well, just quickly, I just want to say thank you all so much for registering and being here. I've seen so many amazing colleagues and friends in the industry, and I really want to say thanks to Jack for hosting, and more importantly to my friend and colleague and leader in this nonprofit space, to Jennifer Nebesky, for really just constantly pushing the envelope at her organization and having these awesome conversations to talk about how to raise more for her cause, which is why you are hopefully all here today. We're going to talk about these trends and what we're seeing. Jen is going to help showcase how she's doing that, and hopefully all of you at these nonprofits can really see how you can take this and translate this into deeper donor relationships and connections and more funds for your cause. So Trend number one, flexible giving and participation options will be the norm. We've heard that a lot, but what do we really mean by that? Well, people are now looking to engage from the comfort of their own home and or where they want. We need to give them the options. When I say we, I mean the nonprofit industry and space. We see that online donations have increased by 60% in the last 5 years. Now, granted, the last 2 years have definitely pushed that a little bit forward, but we've seen online fundraising increase year over year because this is more of a common practice. We eat online, we shop online, we donate online, we do all these things online. This is not uncommon. And in order to ensure your nonprofit is offering these flexible and giving participation options, you want to have the opportunity to engage your donors online more and more. Some statistics in the marketplace is that 47% of donors over the age of 60 give online. So this is not a new factor. These are not for just new individuals who are donating to these causes. This is for a large group of individuals who have the capacity to give and to give a lot. We also see that even online grew an additional 12.1% over the last year. And even though we still see that some individuals prefer to get direct mail and they do donate via check, again, the statistics are showing that online is growing. Another awesome stat that you can see in front of you is 2021, we see 25% of online donations came from mobile devices. So I'm sure you can all understand that. You're at home and you've got an iPad in front of you like me, a laptop in front of you, a phone beside you. We're integrated and we're connected with this technology. And in order to really show your donors and your stakeholders that they matter, you need to be where they are. So really showcasing that you are on and have the technology to be able to support those mobile givings. We also see that nonprofit text messaging audiences grew by 26% in 2020, and mobile giving donations have increased by 205%. Okay, that's an incredible number. Again, ensuring that your technology can support the ability for donors to interact, engage, text, communicate, and receive donations and make donations online. And then the third stat, really, despite being a year removed from the beginning of the pandemic, we see 85% of events were still virtual. There's a lot of talk from the nonprofit space of going back to, what that looks like of in-person events. And absolutely, we know this. I know this from working at a variety of different nonprofit events that you need and want that face-to-face interaction. But you also have had a lot of things happen over the last 2 years. A lot of individuals have moved outside of city centers, far from where big national in-person events take place. You have individuals who are now competing with a variety of other organizations and nonprofits that they want to contribute their time and energy and support to. So having the ability to not be able to compete, you want to have the ability to have them contribute, participate, donate online. Really, this hybrid opportunity is a huge benefit to your organization to continue both options. And again, we're really wanting to give the power back to your stakeholders, your supporters, your donors. Allow them to choose how they wish to engage with you, because that will make them feel like you are thinking about them and care about how they want to contribute to your cause. So just ensuring you provide both options. Another really interesting stat, it's not on here, but again, it will be on this e-guide that we're going to be sending you post this webinar, is really something that we're seeing regarding flexibility, accountability, adaptability. We want to make sure that you and your nonprofit are constantly aware of these trends to know what to do, when to go out, when to bring an umbrella, when you don't need one, really just to make sure you're prepared and being able to pivot and pivot quickly. When we did a donor survey, donors were answering questions saying they were more willing to participate and give and donate when they were given the option to do so online. So the more your nonprofit is able to be adaptable and pivot when required or needed, a next pandemic, a new pandemic, whatever it may be, a tornado, a thunderstorm, whatever it is to close down that in-person event, you want to have the option availability from your platform, your technology, your tools to pivot quickly. Also, I know Jack mentioned in the beginning that we're seeing a lot of NFTs and cryptocurrency. And I know Jen's going to talk a little bit about this, but the Giving Block mentioned that the value of total cryptocurrency donations is now over $300 million annually. So I'd love for your nonprofits to start thinking about accepting these crypto donations. Really, your organization can make stronger connections with the new generation of major donors who are commonly using currencies like Bitcoin. And I know, Jen, you have some experience with this currently. You're exploring that at the Liver Foundation. Is that correct?
That's correct. Actually, this just happened a few weeks ago, and I'm sure some of our guests online are probably facing sort of the same decision. What do we do? How do we accept it? What does that look like? And how do we communicate that we're accepting it? So yes, we've done our investigating. We've connected with our different financial groups that support us, meaning our financial institutions, to see how and when we can start to receive crypto. To be honest, it doesn't seem that complicated, but that's sort of my 30,000 feet look at it. I haven't dug too far in, but what I do know is that the money that is, like you mentioned, the millions and billions of dollars that's in crypto right now is super beneficial to a charity, right? Yeah, it could totally change the way we work with just one crypto.
Absolutely. I think developing these flexible giving options is going to be awesome for a lot of people going forward to whatever happens. And with that, let's go to our second trend.
Oh, okay.
You want to say something quickly? Yeah, go
ahead.
Well,
I was thinking on the fly here. Jack, what you said at the beginning about not playing catch up, but actually looking ahead. Where do we need to be? And one of the questions that we had a conversation about in preparing this was how the pandemic has changed the way that not-for-profits operate. And really, and Bryna, we've been having conversations about this for years, that we're coming up to a fork in the road in the not-for-profit. You're laughing because how many times have we had this conversation? There's a fork in the road in the not-for-profit industry, and embracing, and I think, the pandemic highlighted that, and forced organizations like ours to make a decision to embrace technology, to pivot online. It was to ensure that we were there for those living with liver disease that needed us, but also there for our donors who still wanted to support the organization, but didn't know how. So, understanding where they were, what platforms were available, allowed us to engage with them, gave our donors an opportunity to continue to support us from home where they felt safest at the time and still access services from us. And I think, to your point, Jack, about what do we do now? Like 2022, we're seeing more hybrid. It would be sad if charity went right back to the way they used to work. We've learned a lot because we were sort of backed into a corner to learn that. So you don't want to lose those lessons. You want to be able to, Bryna's point, create a hybrid event so that you appeal to both those that want to offer online, but those that also still want to, come together or fundraise in their own way. And part of that offering of a hybrid event is making sure we use the right tools, like do-it-yourself fundraisers and tools like that, to find creative ways for people to engage with us. Because let's be honest, coming out of the pandemic, there were lots of creative ways that people spent their time and raised money for organizations, whether it's knitting hats or hosting bake sales or whatever it was. There were lots of fun things to do. So I feel for charities now, because you're kind of stuck in that, what do I do now phase? Do I keep going? Do I go back? You're being pulled in lots of directions. My advice would be, don't lose the momentum that you've gained and really start to embrace tools to help us do that.
And to all you nonprofit leaders on the call, let us know in the Q&A or in the chat, like, are you embracing it? Are you thinking of going back? Like, we want to, answer questions, but we want to engage you as well. And we'll love to hear from you and see, what are you thinking? Are you excited about this hybrid opportunity? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Whatever it may be, love to interact and engage. So let us know. Okay, fundraising trend number 2, donor retention strategies will breathe new life into your nonprofit. What do I mean? Donor acquisition, I'm sure we all know that word, is increasingly expensive. With the cost of bringing in a new donor, often we double or triple the amount of that actually doubles or triples the amount of the initial donation. It takes us way more effort, time, and energy than it is to retain a donor. So what do we need to do to make sure that you have sustainable revenue for your nonprofit? Okay, well, here's some stats. 70% of donors only give once. Nonprofits are often left with a loss on their initial investment in first-time donations. What? 70%? Again, please give us your thoughts. To me, this is a huge opportunity, even though that's a scary stat that only 70% of your donors give one time. That means you know that you've regained an individual who has donated to you. It's now up to you to figure out how to retain them. What do you need to do? You need to find the technology that's going to help you identify who and how they are, how you can optimize stewardship techniques and improve your donor experiences to ensure that that one-time donation flips to more recurring, monthly, major, bequest giving, whatever it may be. You have an in. This is an opportunity for your network to continuously engage a donor who has once felt comfortable enough to fill in those forms that we all have with all that information that we ask them to give. You have the opportunity to engage and steward them. And if you flip to the next slide, Jack, I really think that this is a powerful statistic. 10% donor attrition improvement can yield up to 200% increase in projected value, and that's including decreasing marketing and acquisition costs. So for all of you on this webinar, again, what are your techniques? What are your strategies? Again, Fundraising Kit is going to have an e-guide that we're going to send you after this to give you some examples of what that looks like. Again, using the right technologies like Fundraising Kit, where it literally plugs into your Salesforce or your Razor's Edge or your Neon CRM and targets the people who you should be connecting with at the right time for the right amount versus having your staff just pull a list of everybody and say, let's call these everyone. You really want to find out the best ways to figure out what it looks like to engage your audience. And I have, again, a couple of stats here. Knowing that the donation or donor retention is important, how do you go about increasing this? Well, we found a recent survey that had identified what people are looking for after they make a donation. 75% of donors are seeking information about your nonprofit's impact. So not just saying a thank you, but providing, where's that money going? Where's that funding going? 63% want to know the social issues the nonprofit is addressing. 56% want a list of projects the nonprofit supports. Again, you have the power to understand how to communicate back to your donors. And by ensuring these donors are easily able to access this information and you having the ability to find this information, you can remove those barriers and regularly share impact reports. And I know at a variety of different nonprofits that I've worked at, sometimes it's harder to find out where and how that donor dollar goes and what it goes to. So it's an opportunity for your organization to gather with your leads and your stakeholders and your board members and find ways to demonstrate that impact. And again, our e-guide will go through a little bit more detail, but I think there's a huge opportunity. And Jen, can you let us know? And again, please, everybody on this call, jump in and let us know if this was working for you. But what does your team do for donor retention? How do you engage that audience to ensure that they're contributing to your cause?
Well, you really nailed it there. And, not just because I'm a comms person, but communication is key. Absolutely. Communicating the impact that they're making. But in order to understand that, we needed to invest here at the CLF in internal resources, making sure that there was somebody that was able to understand the data and communicate with our donors. So we used technology to ensure that that's the other part. No one is missed, right? We don't want to lose an important donor that's come in the door because they happen to slip through our system. So it's really investing in the internal resources, making sure that we use the technology that allows us to understand our donor and ensure that they're not missed. Because like you said, donors want to know that their donation is making a difference, that's making an impact on the mission of the organization, that it's changing somebody's life. And again, that's why I go back to communication is so important. Let them know that their donation is changing a life. Understand why they donated and communicate with them through that channel. If it's research that they're interested in, if it's community support programs, talking to them that way. And again, leveraging the tools that you have or the technology you have in-house to be able to understand your donor and to be able to make that meaningful connection with them, because it's really about personalization, understanding your donor, and having the tools that you need, I think, really in place. Again, it's all around trust and demonstrating impact, really. If I was to put it into two words, trust and impact.
And it's important to calculate your donor retention rate.
Absolutely.
To really understand how effective your retention strategies are, right? Yeah. So we want to encourage you to, and again, I've lived in the nonprofit space. Jen, you're in the nonprofit space. Again, everyone on this call, let us know how you're feeling. But sometimes in the nonprofit space, I found it, and I'd love your opinions, of it's hard to test things because you roll it out and you're on to the next thing. But there's tools out there. And again, Fundraising Kit will send you some of our templates for calculating and figuring out your donor retention rate. But the more you can address this and figure out what you need to do, you can catch it and update it and change it. Because again, we want to give you the tools to be able to find the right ways, but without knowing, I at a loss, right?
I agree. Not-for-profits, we have to definitely be, and I think the last 2 years has shown that we can much more agile in the way that we speak to all of our stakeholders, but specifically our donors, understanding what do they want and how can we make that difference. And the agility really comes down to resources internally and tools that we have. That's all I would say about that.
Well, let's go to trend number 3.
Okay, trend number 3. Man, I love these numbers. Monthly giving programs. They provide nonprofits with predictable revenue while reducing the need for fundraisers to keep making individual appeals. Even better, monthly giving is becoming increasingly popular. So again, the importance of monthly giving, 24% increase in monthly giving revenue in 2021 alone versus a 1% decrease in one-time giving revenue in 2021. So I hope, Jen, that you've seen this as well in your nonprofit. I hope all of you on this call have seen this, but this is a very important statistic because again, when I was in that space, there's a fine balance. And I can see some of you guys writing in the chat, we want to listen, we want to hear, we don't want to over communicate, when we don't want to push our donors. Allowing your donors to say, I want to give $100, asking them to split it up over the year gives your nonprofit stability, financial, comfortable ability to feel like you can do more in a longer period of time, that you're not living month by month of where your funds are. And again, once these individuals are in those monthly giving campaigns, the statistics of them increasing it, as you can see here on the screen, and continuing that year over year is huge and beneficial. And again, another stat, I think it's not on here, but again, just more data will provide you again in the e-guide, but 42% more revenue comes from monthly donors than one-time donors. So where are you including this monthly donor information? Are you including it on your donation pages, in your emails, in your campaigns, in your peer-to-peer events, in your galas, in your how and where are you asking people? And asking isn't offensive. Asking is giving, again, just like we said in the first trend, giving your donors and stakeholders the option to choose whether or not they want it. Again, there's another statistic. Monthly giving is a great way to connect with the next generation of donors. You know, for example, again, a study found that 60% of millennials are interested in monthly giving. Even better, 45% of millennials have already given online, indicating they're comfortable with virtual giving technologies that are required for this monthly giving program. And really, the last thing fundraisers need is the right tools for the right job that help them identify and make appeals to their best monthly giving candidates. So again, Fundraising Kit has features like likelihood to recur. When you plug our Fundraising Kit toolkit into your CRM, your Salesforce, Blackbaud, RE, or your Neon CRM, it will actually pull out a group of people each month who is most likely to give. Again, this is saving your staff time and resources, so they don't need to figure out, do I pull everyone? Do I talk to one person? Do I talk to two people? And let your staff and you focus on donor relationships, which is what matters, which is what you need to do in order to ensure that you're communicating these options to your nonprofits. So again, the right tools can really help out with you figuring out what you need to do for sustainability and financial security for your organization. And Jen, I know I obviously, support the Liver Foundation. I've gone to your website. I see right away when you click on donate that you right away give those donors the option. So what do you guys do for this? What is some feedback you have in regards to this trend?
Oh, for sure. Well, like most organizations, and like you've emphasized, Bryna, here at the CLF, we really value and appreciate monthly donors. Because like you said, by signing up and they're saying we're committed to making a lasting impact on your organization and the work that you do year round. So we're in it with you, CLF, we're in it with you, whatever charity. And that's critically, and I guess that's so important to the sustainability of an organization. And it's important that we communicate the significance of that monthly donation that they're making back to them, feeding them the information that they're interested in. With monthly donors, we have an opportunity to really get to know our community member, our donor over time. And with the tools that we have, we're able to sort of pull, like you said, information that's specific to that donor or that segment of donors. So we're not, I guess I always struggle with, or we've always heard there's always well, we don't want to email too much and we don't want to bug them too much. The stats don't support it. Like, it's just, that's not the case. It doesn't support that. And by segmenting and being very thoughtful about who you're reaching out to and why you're reaching them, especially with monthly donors, as you're trying to constantly encourage them and show them the value of being in your organization, is really important. And I suspect, although I've never done it, that when you look at it, you're probably not emailing them any more than you thought you were, because you're giving them choices, you're speaking to them the way that they want to be spoken to, and you are providing them the information that they need, that impact moment of, right, look, I have my $10 a month, my $20 a month is making a difference. And they're telling me that it is. So I'm going to continue to support. So I think that that's really important in how we personalize touch points. We have welcome kits for new monthly donors as some of the things that we do. Yeah. And just making sure we listen to that, what the data is telling us.
And what's so exciting? You can stay on this trend track, but I just want to jump in is that, and again, I'd love everybody on this call to provide feedback, but there's a lot of talk about over communicating. And again, the statistics here are showing that that donors are not giving because they're not being communicated in the right way.
Yeah.
In the right way. You can send me 6 emails. If one is saying, thanks for your donation, here's where it's going. Another email is saying, hey, guess what? There's an event coming up in your neighborhood. Where are you interested? There's another email saying, hey, did you see us in the news? Check this out. Hey, so as long as you are communicating effectively with information that is personal and relevant, you can email me as much as you want. It's not going to bother me. In fact, I'm going to feel more engaged and connected. All right. I love this conversation. Again, love these questions. I see they're coming in. We're going to hopefully answer more, but please engage with us and let us know what you think and how you feel. Trend number 4, it's really flows really nicely into what we were just saying, but personalized giving experiences will be a necessity. Now we're saying for 2023, but we're hoping that you're starting this now in 2022 and it will flow into 2023. That's right. We're trying to get you guys ahead.
Yeah.
Love these stats. So donors are increasingly expecting, again, what I just mentioned, personalized giving experiences with nonprofits. And nonprofits can use segmentation tools and other communication technology to really enhance your donor experiences and increase that donation retention and generosity, of course. So in 2023, donor personalization will be more of a need than a nice to have. Again, getting everybody excited for what you really need to have in place for 2023. And we have a stat here. Obviously, you can see 60% of donors value a personalized experience versus 44% are satisfied with the personalization they're currently experiencing. So there's opportunity and room for improvement, but for those that are doing personalized messaging, clearly it's working. But again, these statistics don't lie. Personalization really will be critical to making connections that result in these long-lasting donor relationships and interactions. And supporters are going to want to have their messages tailored to their lifestyles, their passions, their communication preferences. So when you are asking people for a donation, when you're creating your donation pages, you want donation pages that have the ability to engage with your donors, ask questions, and then don't just take that information and those questions and put it in your CRM. Use those questions to engage with your donors. Just to continue, a couple of other awesome stats. I love statistics. If everybody who knows me knows that I love data. 59% of donors would give up to 10% more.
That's a lot.
For a personalized message experience. Do you hear that, everybody? 10% more. I've had conversations with board members that have asked me, can you just get 2% more? We're telling you, the donors are telling you, give me a personalized message and I'll give you 10% more of my income, of my hard-earned dollars to support your cause, because it means you know me, you care about me, you're listening to me. 25% would donate up to 25% more. And 8% would donate up to 50% more. Again, we're giving you data to help you put together plans and figure out what are your donors telling you. You have the info. And if you don't have the info, create the pages and the donation pages and the questions to engage, because there's a lot of talk. And again, I'd love your input, Jen and everybody on this call. People are afraid to ask donors for more questions. If we add one more field, if we ask one more question, they're not going to click donate. It's not true.
That's not the case.
It's not true. These donors are telling you, I want it more personalized. You can't get personalized with an email address and a credit card. You can get personalized by engaging and asking. Do you want to cover the fee? Do you want to be a recurring donor? What do you think about a matching donation? Are you interested in giving this to attribute this to somebody you love and care about? Engage, interact, and the way to do that, again, Jack said it at the beginning, right? Technology bridges that gap. You cannot be there asking people for a donation face-to-face every single minute. Use your technology, use your donation pages, and engage with them by bridging the gap through technology and creating a relationship by asking a question. I love that. It's really exciting. Again, send out donor surveys. Ask individuals. If you don't have that donation form, if you're limited for whatever reason, use technology. Again, Jack, great intro. Technology is bridging the gap. Love it. Ask people what they want. What do they want to know? What do they want to gain? Where are they from? We just spent 5 minutes shouting out to everybody across the country, internationally. Like, it feels good to be recognized. It feels good to have your name be called out, your city being addressed. Don't you think your donors want the same thing? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right? So Jen,
absolutely.
What does your organization do to really address these? How do you create these personalized communications in your organization? And hopefully, again, people on the call can either follow suit or communicate that they're doing something similar.
Well, everything you're saying, you're preaching to the choir over here. Communication is key. And I think about now, if I get something that's not addressed to me, if it's dear sir, dear madam, or whatever, I don't even bother. I'm like, if you haven't invested in figuring out anything about me, I'm not invested in you. My time is limited. So yes, absolutely. Understanding who our donors are. It talks about not the technology, but the importance of relationships. And people want to be seen, people want to be heard, they want to be understood. And if we communicate with our donors, if we cultivate them and we steward them along, we're always showing them that they're important to us. And they are. Like, this is not just they are important to us. Because of donors, that's why organizations like the CLF exist. And because they're so important to us, it is on us to understand who they are, to connect with them. But it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't mean that you have to get on the ground and sit across the table from someone. There are smart ways to do this. There are smart ways to raise money, and you need to embrace technology to do that. Technology will just free you up to make those personal connections. They'll allow you to talk to somebody about their experience. Why did they deliver, or why did they donate to the CLF? And questions. You made me think about the point that you made. We recently sent out a survey. We're working on a new strategic priorities. And at the end, one of the questions we asked was, would you be, and we sent it out to 1,500 of our stakeholders. And one of the questions at the end, not offensive, was like, would you be interested in learning more about becoming a donor? Would you be interested in a monthly program? Would you be interested in, a planned giving program? Everybody answered the question. And now in our data, we've got all of these people that we're following up with that we didn't know before, right? And that was using our data in a smart way and understanding it.
Excellent.
Again, it's just letting them know that you're grateful and that they are important to us. And one way to do that is personalization of everything. I mean, honestly.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had a couple of questions come in about specific strategies. And I think near the end there, we nailed down a few with surveys, using name specific technology within your email software. That's getting pretty common now. So anything you can really do to show, I think it's more about showing donors that you've learned a little bit about them.
It's not just the name. It's understanding what triggered them at that point to make that donation, right? Was it research? Was it an event? Was it, an online campaign that we're giving? So, and then speak to them through that avenue, because that, in all of the information they've received about us, that's the one thing that got their attention. So let's explore that. Let's engage with them more and learn more about that.
Wonderful.
Fundraising trend number 5. Who likes that $5 billion number on there? Yeah, me too.
Me.
Okay. So number 5, can't believe we're at 5 already. Workplace giving can extend your nonprofit's mission. Now, again, I've worked in the nonprofit industry for so long, and I believe that workplace giving has changed. Yes, Matt, those rockets. It's changed, and it's changed significantly, which is why I'm so glad you're here today to understand what we mean when we say workplace giving can extend your nonprofit's mission. Nonprofits are always looking for corporate partnerships, but there's another way that organizations can benefit from corporate philanthropy, and that's employee giving. The Great Resignation, I'm sure we've all heard, remote work continue to become a reality. This is not coming and leaving. This is here to stay. People want to be engaged. They want to have meaning. And even if they're in a nonprofit, sometimes they need to switch and take a breath and take a moment and gather what really is important to them. And we respect that and love that. And in order for this $5 billion number to get into the nonprofit industry, you need to really work with companies who are looking for ways to make their employees feel engaged and happy. Many companies are now finding that matching and other workplace giving programs are really a great way to turn their companies into meaningful communities, not just employee engagement opportunities, but in meaningful communities. So you don't want to miss out on workplace revenue opportunities with $5 billion. It's not a mistake. That's not a
It's not a typo.
Not a typo. Thank you. $1 billion raised through workplace giving. Employee engagement programs really give those employees a way and companies a way to increase employee satisfaction and provide support. And again, as we see workplaces continue to be remote, employees can connect through their charitable interests. Again, Jack, great topic. Technology bridges the gap. Really introducing people to causes they care about. And these programs are really a great way for nonprofits to introduce a giving experience. So finding your perfect corporate partner is easier than you think. I know there's a lot of people on this call, myself included, Jen included, have worked for companies where who are we going to ask that fits our mission? Who's going to help support us when they have one mandate and we don't fit that one mandate, but we want corporate giving? Okay, start by focusing on businesses operating in your local community. Companies are much more likely to support those nonprofits with the same area. But also, and Jen and I were talking about this morning, use your technology. Thank you again, Jack. Having a platform, asking your donors and supporters, where do they work? Then you can go to your workplaces and you can say, guess what? We have 800 people who've signed up for our local walk from Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, your employees are telling you actually that you should start an engagement program and support our Canadian Liver Foundation or whatever organization you're from. Just like we mentioned before, using your data, understanding where your individuals are from and engaging with them in that way. So I don't know, Jen, if you have any other updates and
I was
you
just
agree with
say,
that.
I 100% agree. You took my, but like my speaking point is in your data lies where people work. And we are literally just looking at where does everybody work and how can we do some workplace giving campaigns, even provide some like education sessions back in exchange for that. Corporations, they want to be good citizens and they want to keep their employees. The way we work and the way we engage with each other as employees has changed. And one of the ways of keeping or having corporations participate is through their employees. So I'm a huge supporter of this. I think it's a fantastic idea. And in fact, we're doing that.
Amazing.
Excellent. And those are the 5 trends. I'm just
going to do the top high level. You are all going to get so much more detail and
corporate matching. Yeah.
So I just want to do a quick overview and kind of revisit the best practices. We had a lot of questions coming in about what specifically people can do to integrate some of the trends we mentioned. So the first one, flexible giving, is online giving and mobile and virtual events are all on the rise. You can really start to allow your donors and supporters to engage with you in a variety of ways by ensuring that your donation pages are mobile accessible, hosting hybrid events, and even this might make you roll your eyes, but look into crypto. Like Jen said, it might be easier than you imagine. You can also work with third-party nonprofits who can process those donations for you. And it'll just help you open up your pool for more funders and maybe even a younger or more diverse crowd of funders you weren't aware of. Next is donor retention. You can motivate donors to continue their support by regularly providing them with impact statements or reports and reminding them of their projects, reminding them of your projects and overall purpose of your organization. It will also be important for your nonprofit to ensure that they're tracking their donor retention rate so they can understand their stewardship, whether or not their stewardship efforts are effective. Third, in 2021, we saw a 24% increase in monthly giving revenue, while one-time revenue saw a 1% decrease. This shows us the growing opportunities that monthly giving presents and how important it is to find tools and technology that can help you identify and manage monthly donors. Fourth, in a trend that encompasses some of the other trends we've discussed, there's a growing expectation among donors that they will have a personalized giving experience. We talked a little bit about learning who your donors are and about their motivations. Jen also touched on segmentation. You can try and segment your communications by the interest areas that they're specifically interested in. If they signed up for a fun run, make sure you're updating them on the impact of the fun run. If they signed up to, I don't know, learn more about you, make sure you're giving them information about yourself, whatever it is. Show your donors that you are learning about them while they're also doing the same to you. And last, workplace giving is evolving and changing alongside the nonprofit sector. So look at nonprofits in your area and motivate supporters in your area to talk to their workplace about matching opportunities. And also go on the corporate websites of the companies in your area and try and see if you have areas of alignment. That's a really easy way to get your foot in the door. And I talked a bit about this at the start, but we really want to make sure that these trends today can help you in your nonprofit, and that they help you get in front of the curve and get ahead of all of the changes to come. We think that that's going to be one of the most important reasons why these trends can help you in your nonprofit, is staying ahead of the curve. And one of the last things we'll discuss, when you're thinking about these trends and how they can affect your work, be sure you're using the tips and strategy we've mentioned to enhance your work, not to redefine it. Be sure you're communicating with your team, colleagues, and leadership, including your CEO or executive director or board of directors, as you will want to make sure you're all on the same page. This will help you simplify what you intend to do and give your supporters and stakeholders the transparency they deserve. While looking ahead, you'll also want to evaluate what your goals are, how are you going to achieve them, and be sure you have the right tools and technology to do so. And again, we are brought to you by Fundraising Kits. So what this technology will allow people to do is identify supporters and donors in their database that are ready to essentially take the next step in their donor journey. So we mentioned our likelihood to recur score, which allows you to identify donors who are showing signs that they are ready to sign up for monthly giving, and identify other one-time and sporadic donors who are able to take their next step for as monthly giving or even major giving. Fundraising Kit is here to enhance the fundraising you're already doing and be able to prioritize and segment and reach out to all of the donors that can help you take the next step as an organization as well. Yes, there we go. Jen, you're also partnering with Fundraising Kit with your organization. Was there a specific reason that you wanted to sign up with Fundraising Kit?
Absolutely. Actually, there was. So, and I should admit that I was completely separate from having this conversation. Our director of fund development brought it over. It was like, this is amazing. You have to look into this more, and we have to figure out, because, and she was right. What she was excited to kind of get that deeper dive into our data, sort of that level underneath of understanding. Like, I'm noticing in some of the questions here that I'm getting distracted by, that it is that layer underneath of not just understanding what the person's name is and where they live, but what's important to them. Why did they give? And understanding, I think Fundraising Kit also provides us a chance to, like what Bryna was talking at the beginning, is when do we reach out to these people? Like, it's better, like that's new information, as opposed to, used to know that Thursday at 3:00 was a great time people opened emails to send. But it's actually even better if you can dive into who are those people that open it at 3:00, and then move all the other people out, so that we can really tailor that to, like, snack time, is it coffee time? Like, what are you looking for? Do you know the coffee is good for your liver? Like, that's not just
my liver is extremely healthy then.
But yes, it is actually. There's a little point. There you go. You can learn something. It is. Coffee is very good for your liver. So yeah, I'm looking at, or looking forward to, that deeper dive into our data and how we use that information. It's one thing to get the information, but how are we going to use it? And that's what excites me.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. And we are going to jump into a quick Q&A to answer some of your questions. The first question I'm going to ask Bryna.
Sure.
Why should nonprofits focus on trends within the entire sector and not focus on trends within their own database?
Love the question. And I think it's an opportunity. And I love analogies, but you know, you're in your warm apartment and you're getting dressed, you're getting your t-shirt, your shorts, and you walk outside and it's minus 22. So you really want to make sure that you're taking into account everything. You know, fundraising trends are important to help you ensure that you're telling and pushing your donors where you want them to go, Where do you need them to go? You need them and want them to participate in monthly giving. So again, you need to look at your own database and you want to ensure that you're understanding who and what is in your database. But ultimately, based on even these 5 trends, you want to be able to encourage your donors to go with you on your adventure, which is helping solve whatever you are solving, whether that's a service, whether that's healthcare, whatever it may be. How do you get them to do that? You look at the trends. These statistics come from communicating and surveying donors, supporters, volunteers, nonprofits in the industry. This is a lot of information that is helping showcase where things are going. And the more you can be prepared and understand that, the less you have to worry about being adaptable because you're already getting the opportunity to do so. So I would say, don't ignore your database, look at your database, but be prepared to showcase what is happening outside and how do you then move those donors along to make sure that you have longevity and support for your organization and your mission and create those relationships.
Can I add one thing to that? That if to your point, Bryna, if you only stay and look at your data and not understand the trends or the world around, you're not also understanding other external forces that influence your donor and they could be, the world is an upside down place right now. It could simply be something like that. But until you understand that and are able to relate that back to your donor, you're missing an opportunity to make an even a bigger impact with them or for your organization.
We have time for 1 or 2 more questions, and this one's going to be for Jen. What's an example of how you show impact or how your organization demonstrates impact? Is it with a specific chart you put up, a letter? What are some ways you go about doing that?
There are a few ways. So like I've been sort of going on about it's showing meaningful impact. And that's always the word that I want to put in front of what we do with any of our donors, because the impact that is only going to be important to them if that's what they have said or shown that they're interested in. So if they, we have personalized welcome kits. So we've had an opportunity to have a phone call or sometimes an email conversation, learning a little bit more. So ensuring that welcome kit reflects that I heard you, I listened, and I'm grateful. That's one way. Handwritten notes, phone calls. These are things that we can do like here. But it's also like, I'm not sure, I understand that you're really interested in XY, horseback riding. Did you know that the Canadian Liver Foundation is actually, we're involved in some equestrian clubs and we want to do some, there's a fundraising event. It's just really listening to the data and making it meaningful coming back. So we've seen lots of other ways. So I've had someone a colleague follow up with a donor. That's why I said knitting hats, because they were interested in knitting and she happened to see something and it was an opportunity to connect the dots and really reach out to someone that she's had a hard time connecting with. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm sure there's lots more. Off the top of my head, that's what I can think of right now.
It is helpful, and there is tons of ways. And for everyone, Susan, Tracy, Matt, thank you for all your questions. We're going to reply to you after the email personally. Fortunately, we're out of time, but thank you everyone for joining us today. For myself, Jen, and Bryna, we're very happy that everyone's able to come and learn a little bit more about the sector. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. So nice to have you, see some faces, and I can't wait to engage with all those that we unfortunately weren't able to answer your questions. But for more information, visit fundraisingkit.com and talk to us. Let us know if you have additional questions. We're more than willing to help out. Can't wait.
Great. Thank you very much for including me.
Thank you.
Anytime. And we're going to be following up with the recording of the webinar and that e-guide that'll give you more information as well. All right. Thank you, everybody, very much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye.